Okay, now let's get started. Today we're gonna be doing Getian's Anecdote, and you know what? I kind of forgot this existed during the update. I've been so busy playing all my other gachas. Every gacha that I've been playing has kind of updated around the same time frame. PGR, Reverse, Zenless, Wuthering Waves, uh, well, Morimen's not really, but have a lot to do on there anyway. And they're bringing out updates all the damn time. Uh, and then NTE I just came out like not too long ago too, right? So I've just been busy with like stuff in real life, and then and then yeah, it's just very hard to like make time for like every single one of these. But yeah, I had noticed that that he had an anecdote, and what do you know? I noticed it like 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? But anyway, I'm glad found out just in time. But I am curious about this because I actually like this character, and I've always wanted to know more about him and like his character's race. So when I like, what was it? I think I had read like part of his story, like on I think it was his character story, not his anecdote, and I thought it was really interesting. It was really good. So I don't know what this is gonna deal with specifically, but I am curious. You know what's gonna happen, and supposedly I think there's like 10 stages. Like if I look at all the stuff, there's 10, and there's like multiple endings. And again, this is an anecdote, so I'm assuming it's going to be taking up the mantle of the current type of presentation. So I'm probably not gonna, it's gonna probably be just like literally a straight up visual novel. So we'll see. But let me jot down. Let me jot something down real quick. There we go. But yeah, let me make sure everything's working. Yeah, the camera's in the right spot. But yeah, let's get started. We have like less than a day, or we have about a day left. So I do want to finish this in one sitting, even if it takes me a little bit. So yeah, bear with me. And for those that are interested in the story, appreciate you guys chilling and hanging out and whatnot. And by the end of the video, for those that stick around, let me know your thoughts on the anecdote. But yeah, let's see what's up. A story told by Candlelight, part 1. Oh yeah, let me see. I might have to move my camera like over here, huh? For those who master the art of music, humanity has no shortage of praise. One especially exaggerated claim goes as follows: when the most skillful musician performs, even phoenixes will land gracefully upon his shoulder. Fragments of quiet conversation are swallowed by the darkness. Fortunately, there is still a single candle. Tap to light the candle. Under its dim glow, the storyteller's face slowly comes into view. In every way, he's an ordinary young man. The flickering flames are reflected in his eyes. There are far too many humans like him in this world. Some grow accustomed to lies, others hold loyalty as their creed. At times, they prize their own lives above all else. At others, they sacrifice themselves for a reason unknown to anyone. Truly inscrutable. Once upon a time, there was an incredibly gifted... I don't know how do you pronounce this, actually? Give me one moment. Guchin? I see. Okay. Once upon a time, there was an incredibly gifted Guchin player. One spring, he sat alone beneath a parasol tree and played a newly composed piece. It was his life's proudest work, only it lacked a proper ending. The listener seems unimpressed. Noticing this, the musician clears his throat and unconsciously drops a hand to his side. A moment later, as if touching something reassuring, he speaks again. The piece ended. The Guchin player looked up and saw a bird-like immortal with a human head standing before him. "Why do you stop playing?" he asked. The Guchin player replied, "This is as much as I've written. I'm not sure how to continue." Now allow me to complete it, the immortal said, and together we shall create an unrivaled score, the likes of which the world has never seen. The candlelight is too dim to reveal the listener's face, but the musician does see a finger idly tracing circles on the tabletop. Another cliched story, another tale of a frustrated human yearning for the unreachable, hoping for the day an immortal might lower their gaze upon them. How laughable, how dull. I can prove it to you. Perhaps this time will be different. A faint rustling sound. Places something from his side onto the table and slowly pushes it into the candlelight. It's a Gutian. An aged Gutian covered in fine cracks. The lacquer is old, but under the light it holds a shine that can only come from years spent in careful hands. Its strings tremble faintly as if an unfinished melody still breathes within them. The musician then slides over a small knife. The listener accepts it absent-mindedly, turning it over in his hand. A rather fine Gutian maker's knife with a plain, sharp blade. Try cutting the strings. The listener taps the top of the table with the knife handle in response. He extends his hand. The blade pauses on the strings. A flick, then a slash. Cut the strings? Utterly unexpected. Oh, is this how it looks like? Utterly unexpected. A soft gasp leaves his lips as he leans in for a closer look. The strings are no ordinary black silk. Their hue is a pale blue-gray, with a texture resembling feathers. They shine with a faint silvery light in the candle's glow. The immortal and the Gutian player became fast friends, admiring his new companion's talent. The immortal stayed in the human world, using his arcane skill. He altered the bones of the Gutian player, along with his fate. From then on, the Gutian player's life flowed as smoothly as a stream, and his name spread far and wide. Altering one's fate through the changing of bones, the listener straightens up. He has heard such outlandish rumors before. Perhaps there is some truth behind them after all. Here, before your very eyes, are strings fashioned from the feathers of the immortal. The listener waves for him to continue. A divine bird descended from a mountain, a gifted human, a reshaping of destiny. It's a good story. This musician might be the one he's been looking for, but is he good enough? Can his talent capture the attention of a divine bird? Under his audience's curious scrutiny, the musician takes a deep breath. This is not the first time he has told the legend of the Mei Meng, and it will likely not be the last. The Gutian player, the story was my ancestor. Like old friends. Part 2. A narrow mountain path. Let me see. There you go. The rain doesn't stop until nightfall. The dark clouds disperse, and the moon makes its quiet ascent. In its light, a single drop of dew slides down a slender leaf, inching its way toward the tip. This is the place. The Maimong draws in its wings and lands in a clearing halfway up the mountain. Last year's fallen leaves are soaked with dew. The new grass beneath yet to grow in. It is as soft as a blanket. Across the path and the shabby hut is right ahead. Oh, excuse me. Now I have hiccups. Give me some water. A plain, low-thatched hut with a few slabs of bluestone weighing down the ridges of its roof belongs to one of Getian's kin, who descended the mountain before the two ever to return. Now it has been made the home of a human musician who wandered into the mountain by chance. With the lift of his wings, his bone staff floats slightly into the air and taps at the door. Shabby mountain hut. Above the last pitiful dregs of firewood, the musician sprinkles the crushed tea leaves into water drawn from a mountain stream. Even though the water only boiled once. The flame in the small clay stove slowly dims. He sighs and places down a pair of ceramic cups he fished out from some corner. They're charmingly antique, not a recent make. He fills them with tea. Cup is pushed toward the visitor. Thank you. The Maimong does not drink tea, yet still extends a wing to pull the cup closer. On a chilly spring night, the touch of warm water has a way of settling the heart. The aroma of this tea seems different from before. The musician moves the tea set aside and sits down across from Getian. Though you live in the mountains, you seem far more familiar with the lands below than I'd expected. Oh, this is where you get the two different endings, right? I take little interest in what goes on down below. I've indeed heard a thing or two. Eating casually inhales, fresh but with a hint of bitterness. Curious. Perhaps but because everyone brews it to their taste, he thinks. The Mei-Mongs ferry news from below, along with the latest tools and techniques. Thus I have some knowledge.
Very little of it.
I've never ventured there myself, though I can hardly claim familiarity. The Mei-Mong shakes his head and changes the subject. Has your instrument been repaired? Following his gaze, the musician looks to the plain Gutian at his side and gently presses a hand against the strings. There are no materials in the mountains. It will still have to wait. It will have to wait. A lamentable shame. I had hoped to play something for you. Pay it no mind. Your bones have healed well. I dare say your departure from this mountain is approaching. Yes. Stares absently at the wavering candlelight. Crack. In silence alone, wick flickers and crackles. The faint sound startles the musician, returning him from his momentary stupor. He immediately smiles and turns toward Getian. I've imposed for too long. Should I stay any longer? I fear I'd be overstepping. The mountains are pleasant, but they are not where I belong. When I arrived, the river was still frozen, but spring has likely arrived in the lands below by now. The flowers along the Paline River should be in bloom. If I leave now and catch the east wind along the river, I might still make it back before summer. Perhaps even in time to ask a woodcutter for a fine piece of parasol wood. And what of your search for that legendary score? Will it continue? The musician shakes his head. This candlelight is far too dim. Would you mind brightening it a little? Okay. That's better, thank you. Glances at the candle, quickly looks away, and then smiles once more at the Mei-Mong. The score. Ah, yes, that was why I came to the mountains. The day you saved me, I watched the sky grow darker and darker, heard the howling of wolves surround me, with a broken leg and my instrument clutched in my hand. All I could do was sit beneath a tree. Even then, my thoughts were fixed on that legendary score. Even if wolves came to tear me apart, I hoped they'd spare my hand so that I might at least continue to play. Oh, how I wished for an immortal. To humans, the Mei-Mong might as well be immortals. Arcanists with human faces and bird bodies. They dwell deep in the mountains with no ordinary mortal. In mountains no ordinary mortal can reach, blessed with long lives. Yet, what truly awes and tempts is their ability to alter one's bones, and with it, one's fate. How I wish for an immortal to descend from the heavens at that time, like your kin who once gifted my ancestor that score. There's no need to name us as such. Mei-Mongs are no different from humans. We too will one day fade away. But to me, this truly is the blessing of an immortal. In the candlelight, the musician spreads his hands. His fingertips and palms are thick with calluses. Though I never found the score, these hands were spared. That alone is thanks to you. The Mei-Mong gives an uneasy shake of his feathers. Fine, call it what you will. The musician smiles at Getian. But now that I think of it, after searching for so long, the score is probably not in the mountains. Or perhaps I'm certainly not destined to find it. Such things can't be forced. Besides, I've already met an immortal on this journey, just as my ancestor once did. When I return and compose a new piece, who knows? It might be even greater than that one. The Mei-Mong thinks in silence, his talons lightly tapping the ground. You have made up your mind, so be it. But the path is dangerous at night. Come dawn, I will see you down the mountain. However, there is still one place amid these peaks that may hold clues of that score. Since you will leave tomorrow, perhaps you might come tonight and see for yourself? Echoes from the mountains. What is this? Perhaps some tremors still linger in the mountains, or in the mountain enough to gather into melody. Short tune fragments remain in the score left in the mountain. Spend points to unlock fragments. Every note is worth a different number of points. Fill the fragment with notes. The fragment unlocks when you've accumulated the required number of points. Tap notes to fill in fragments and unlock the short tune's melody. Am I... Wait, what? Am I just not supposed to do the... What? Wait, is that really it? Okay. Dang, okay. Oh wow, that counts as one. That was echoes from the mountains. Footsteps in the snow. A narrow mountain path. On this early spring night, in which the ice and snow have already melted, but new greenery has yet to grow, it is quiet and lonely. The musician carries his Gutian on his back, following Getian along the mountain path toward the temple. The temple. Records of the Maimong's clan's history since their arrival in the Central Plains are kept in the Temple of Getian. If an archived copy of the lost scores still exists somewhere on the mountain, it may well be there. The musician carries his Guchin on his back, following Getian along the mountain path toward the temple. From afar, they look like two sprigs of duckweed drifting in a boundless sea. The candlelight is barely bright enough to illuminate the ground beneath their feet. Even when with the Maimong leading the way, the musician looks somewhat ragged, the night dew soaking his sleeves as he pushes through the waist-high grass. When Gideon stops once again and waits, the musician speaks up,
I'm
apologizing.
sorry.
You saved my life, for which I'm already deeply grateful, and now I'm causing you even more trouble. It isn't right of me to put you through so much. Saving others is but a simple gesture. I never thought to ask anything of you in return, but you shared something with me I never expected. By that logic, it is I who owe you. Something you never expected. The musician ponders for a moment, then taps his head in realization. Oh, your kid is one who once dealt with my ancestor. After all these years, you still remember him. I suppose you were close.
No,
Not really. Then at least old
no,
acquaintances?
never.
No. You can't mean you were complete strangers. The Maimon gives a slight nod. We never met. Well, Gideon extends a wing, brushing aside a clump of white Kogon grass blocking the musician's path. I am simply curious why he, rather than they, descended the mountain. I have read every word of every record in the temple, yet found nothing of the answer I seek. The Maimon tilts his head toward him. You come from the lands below. I'd like to hear your answer. I see. The musician suddenly understands. After you mentioned it last time, I gave it some more thought. To a Maimong, centuries may pass in the blink of an eye, while the world down below has changed beyond recognition. After so many years of retelling, the details of the story are bound to become unclear. What I've shared is all I've heard. As for any further details, I truly don't
At
know.
least,
Still, from the perspective of those below, what the story describes does make sense. He pants as he climbs another stretch of steps. Humans may differ in temperament and appearance, but in the end, everyone living in this world wants for something that never changes. Some seek power, some seek wealth, some seek generational fame, others seek everlasting glory, and of course, some seek a peerless score. He can't help but smile, pointing at himself. I risked my life climbing the mountain for it. If your kin truly lingered in the human world for the same reason, that would be understandable. Let me get some water. Of course, this is just a superficial view of a mere mortal such as myself. And you, I mean, immortals, do they also have things they seek? This time the Maimong does not correct his choice of words. Very well, since you've spoken frankly of your own matters, I shall also be truthful with you about my concerns. The musician lifts his head to look at him. The moonlight casts its silver glow on the Maimong's face, lost in thought. Like humans, Maimongs developed different dispositions over the years. The last Maimong to descend the mountain in memory? Wait. Like humans, Maimongs developed different dispositions over the years? The last Maimong to descend the mountain in memory. The first Maimong to descend the mountain in memory. Some were excessively curious. One would bring back all manner of human oddities from the lands below, oddities that would enrapture him day and night. Passing by his dwelling, Getian had thought to himself sooner or later. And some were quiet and reserved. One had a favorite camphor tree. On moonlit nights, Getian would see him standing silently on the highest branch, wings outstretched. Getian assumed he likely wouldn't leave, and some Maimongs were mischievous and fond of pranks. Oh, really? One such bird loved to laugh. Getian can't recall his face, only his cackling when he startled his kin by suddenly flying up from below a cliff. Wow. Later they all descended the mountain, never to return. All I recovered were their bones that gave me no answers.
however,
I read of where they went after leaving the mountain, whom they met, and the places they passed. Is this after his, like, character story? It sounds like it kind of is. Is it? I don't I can't tell. Because in the character story, it was talking about him going down the mountain too. Hmm. I read of where they went after leaving the mountain, whom they met, and places they passed, but the Maimong hesitates, his feathers trembling slightly. I still do not know why they left. Doesn't sound completely unsolvable, though. The musician pushes aside a clump of mugwort and takes a deep breath. He smiles at Getian. Life in the mountains may be peaceful, but your kin must have longed for something important deep in their hearts, important enough to give up their longevity. Longevity for those below the mountain, it is often a pursuit, but to your kind, it's merely a bargaining chip to be exchanged. In the lands below, some work to preserve life through any means, no matter how shameful. Yet there are also those willing to sacrifice themselves for something greater. As for that something is, the musician thinks it over again and again, then shakes his
I'm
head.
not sure that.
Well, I am but a human from below. I can't possibly grasp how the Maymongs in the mountains think. He adjusts the Gucci on his back. The instrument is nearly too heavy for him to carry. Fortunately, the temple is just up ahead. Echoes from the mountains. Some fragments contain existing notes. Existing notes cannot be removed, but they count toward the points. I just do not understand this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I just, like, not do this? Am I supposed to just copy this? That's pretty cool. The old tree in the yard. This is going by pretty quick. Temple in the mountains. Tap to light the candle. So this is the temple of the Maymongs. Seeing the light kindle before him, the musician pauses. It seems this place is not quite what you had in mind. The musician carefully steps around the layers of paper hung like drapes, almost tripping on the scattered scrolls strewn up at the ground. Well, I must say this is nothing like anything I've seen before. He notices a bone beneath the papers and is unable to hold back his question. This is the remains of your kin. The Maimong steps further into the temple, not looking back.
Exactly.
Correct. Is this a custom of the mountains? Handling them this way feels somewhat irreverent? The Maimong's voice comes from behind. They're gone, but flesh and bone. Why fuss over it? His voice pauses, tinged with curiosity. Your concern tells me it is different in the lands below. How does your kind treat the dead? Well, we also have temples. In them, we gather the remains of the deceased, assess their deeds in life, and enshrine them. How do you assess one's deeds? The musician freezes again, unsure of how to answer. How do we assess deeds? By whether they benefited others or whether they served only their own aspirations? But can anyone by oneself truly know the nature of one's aspirations? How could others possibly judge such a thing? But can anyone... What? One such a night, in such a place, the Maimong's voice sounds eerily calm, echoing as if both near and far. This is precisely what troubles me. By your account, those who descended the mountain must have chosen to pursue their own aspirations, but how are they to confirm the purpose of their lives? On what basis? Basis? Now I really don't understand what you mean. Getian walks back a few steps, gesturing for his companion to look in his direction. On the way here, I told you of 3 of my kin. There's a scattered pile of bones. Getian picks one up. For perfecting principles, and then a second one. For humans, joy and sorrow. And a final 3rd bone. For the injustice of the world. The Maimong gazes at them in thought. Remarkable aspirations indeed. Nothing like those of ordinary mortals, the musician murmurs. Perhaps, but now, this is all but the moment from the past, and they have returned here, silent and still. If they had foreseen such an ending, would they still have made the same choice? You said you were willing to die for a score. To me, that notion is no different from that of my kin. I am curious how you came to your choice. So that's how you see it. To give everything for one's purposes in life is indeed a difficult thing to choose, and yet to have that choice itself may be a blessing. In the mortal world, countless people live without a freedom of choice. As he gives this vague reply, his gaze drifts absentmindedly out the window. The moon has begun to sink westward, and the sky has shifted from a shade of deep, inky black to dark blue. Dawn is still some time away. He withdraws his gaze, clears his throat, and changes the subject. How are we to find clues of the score among all these scrolls and bones? I can't imagine we'll come up with much of anything.
That's no matter.
There's no need to worry. Just play something. What? Please, your ancestor bonded with the Maimong through music. If any clues remain here, they will respond. Imagine what one blows on the temple, causing the hanging papers to rustle. The musician reaches out to hold down a scroll that is almost blown away, offering an apologetic smile to his friend. I'm afraid the damage my instrument suffered in the mountains hasn't been repaired yet. The Maimong thinks for a moment. I believe that can be resolved. I do not know what your instrument is made of, but whatever you need ought to be here in the temple. A gentle smile of his face slowly fades. Offer to repair. Getian's gaze falls on the musician's Guchin. Perhaps my arcane skill can be of help? His lips move, but in the end, he only lets out another sigh. I appreciate, but there's no need. I know how to repair a Guchin. Bang. He unfastens a Guchin and throws it to the ground. It lands with a heavy thud. Please believe me, I have no ill intent. Echoes from the mountains. Oh, okay, so this is what I was curious about. Okay. He who has gone astray. In the dim light, the musician's hands clench, then loosen. I am not descended from any great master. I am simply the son of a Guchin maker. My family made a living this way for generations, but I'm a fraud. At times, the musician recalls the desolate gate of his hometown, the scent of bamboo leaves and parasol wood, and similar memories that scatter away like wood shavings. Under the shaded eaves, his father once told him the tale of their ancestor meeting a divine bird, and so he said he wished to learn how to play the Guchin. His father laughed and gently stroked his hair. He did indeed have hands suited for the strings. Back then they called him Little Phoenix, and he was doted on like a beloved princeling. Princeling? But his father left far too early. All that truly remained for him were a few absurd stories, ambitions with no clear direction, and a parasol Gucci missing its strings. As you can see, I can't really play the instrument, not properly. I know the materials of the strings and soundboard well enough, but I've never had the chance to spend much time learning to use them. The young fraud took stock of all he owned. The story was well prepared, and the parasol was a rare piece of fine wood. All that was missing was a miracle people could believe in. The musician found a Western merchant who sold arcane materials and discovered that miracles were cheaper than he'd thought. Fireproof cloth, the mane of a divine steed, and silk was as tough as jade. Tap the instrument. It's fixed. And the Gucci was complete. One so beautiful it almost looked as if it were really made from a divine bird's tail feathers. I left the village like that. With the Gucci slung over my shoulder and the maker's knife, my father left me strapped to my waist. The Maimong is a little surprised, but does not interrupt. There are always people willing to pay a hefty price to glorify their households with stirring legends. So the story was retold from his lips 1,000 times, polished into something extraordinary and complete. And yet the instrument has remained forever silent. An immortal's blessing, a peerless score, a prodigious young musician. Nights filled with hesitation, a childhood like a drifting tumbleweed, worries, tangled and knotted like rope. A story that charges onward, or a real life. The musician can only have one of them. On many nights, he dreams of the past. When he wakes, phantom strings tremble softly, sadly, beside his pillow. a reminder that they are still waiting. Perhaps one day he will finally give in, reach out and touch those strings that do not truly belong to him. Sometimes I think how wonderful it would be if divine birds truly existed, if I really were a man favored by an immortal. Getian lowered his gaze slightly. Birds that can change a person's fate do not indeed exist. Oh wait, do indeed exist. Yet for a Maimong, this is a melody that can only be played and cherished once. And someone actually believed this story. They forced me to climb the mountain and find a Maimong for them. I see. When I first met you, I saw your bones that you were hiding something. Or I saw in your bones that you were hiding something. Now it is clear.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I didn't want it to be like this, but I had no other choice. He stammers as he explains. I never truly harbored any malicious intent. The Maimong lowers his head to meet his gaze. The musician's voice grows quieter. I was conflicted. I know not to repay kindness with betrayal, which is why I asked to go down the mountain. I was afraid that if I stayed any longer, I'd begin having thoughts I shouldn't have. Please, let me go down the mountain. I won't come back, and I won't tell a soul that I ever met you. Very well. At last, the Maimong calmly looks away. In the end, you never truly acted on your falsehood. You're not angry. Those below the mountain are all much the same, tossed about, uncertain. There is little that is fixed. I saw how you would choose. Besides, what you just spoke of was not entirely fabrication, although perhaps you did not realize it. He lays his wings over the body of the Getian, falls silent for a moment, and begins another story. Long ago, there truly was such a Maimong. A wisp of pale smoke slowly rises. A tune that lingers. In a time long ago, so long that his kin still lived on the frontier, human cities had yet to appear in the Central Plains, and powerful humans and arcana still walked the world, not yet reduced to legend. The Getians, the Maimong clan, created the first song and dance. Oh. The music of the Getian comprises 8 songs. Carry the people, the swallow, nourish the green, raise the 5 grains, honor the way, exalt the divine, trust the earth's virtue, and bring all things to fullness. From that point on, countless Maimongs bore the gift of music. Among them, there was one who was especially intoxicated with rhythm. He lost himself in the music, rarely associating with his kin. Time in the mountains is long, and without seasons, I could not tell when he left. To a Maimong, 1,000 years pass in a moment. Come to think of it, how many years have I myself spent in these mountains? I'll choose the first one. No matter. Maimong sighs softly. For such a lifespan as his, 1,000 years in a single moment were nigh on the same. To me, it is the same. Due to your decision, you've grown more confused. Oh, okay. Well. Sounds like I chose the wrong path, huh? Until one day, convinced he had learned every score the mountain could offer, he ventured down alone to see whether the human music held any worth. He must have been disappointed, the musician says quietly.
Exactly.
Yes, he was disappointed. A human life spans barely 100 years. Strip away the days of ignorant youth and helpless old age, and what remains is only a few fleeting decades. Within that time, one must still endure the difficulties of worldly affairs and endless hardships, a struggle simply to survive. Time that can truly be devoted to oneself is scarce. Even if one pours their entire life into music, it can never be compared to the Maimongs with their incredible lifespan. That is what life down below is like, and the seasons press on. Life only grows harder. Maimong pauses as if gathering his thoughts. He went to many places and saw all manner of people, bustling markets. 2 masters of the age agreed on a musical duel on the city walls with their pipas, drawing a great crowd. The sound was earth-shattering and sky-rending indeed. Yet the Maimong remained bored, believing that something was still missing. Banquets of princes and nobles, amid the rush of dignitaries and the drawing of curtains, the tinkling of crystal and pearls filled the air. On a rooftop not far away, the Maimong watched with a tilted head. A man in a tall crown arose from his seat. bowed deeply, then lifted his head and played the Guqin. Left a song, less a song than a soliloquy of grievances. When the melody properly began, an uproar broke out among the guests. Someone drew a sword, another turned away with a weary sigh. Before the turmoil reached him, turned and left. This was the poise of scholars, not the devotion of a musician. And households where music was passed down through both instrument and song. The Maimong recalled a towering courtyard tree, and arms span thick, much like the one near his mountain dwelling. It was a lonely courtyard filled with the scent of herbs. Its owner often sat there holding a Guqin, unmoving until the moon sank into in the west. The Maimong heard the owner's faint sigh. What a pity, so brief after all. He thought if heaven had granted her 30 more years, perhaps things would have been different. And at first light, he left that verdant courtyard behind. A light breeze passes, and the candle flame suddenly wavers, bringing the musician back to his senses. You mean he never altered a human's bones? He murmurs. Of course, immortals have their own affairs. Why would they concern themselves with the lives of mortals? Oh, immortals. That was not the case. Years later, the Maimong resolved to return to the mountains, feeling as worldly travels were finished, only to encounter a torrential downpour that covered the land in darkness and turned plains into rivers. So he stayed one day longer. The next morning, beneath a parasol tree, the Maimong met a young man in passing and heard a short tune he had never heard before. The melody was free and wild, hardly a proper composition, yet it brought tears to his eyes. Unable to resist, the Maimong stepped forward to speak with him. The youth humbly said he had no talent for music and that he simply enjoyed plucking the strings for amusement during idle moments. He asked the young man's background and learned that he was just a local Guqin maker. A Guqin maker, a Guqin maker. He repeats it twice under his breath and suddenly stands up. If that's the case, how it is I've never heard of a great musician among my ancestors? If a Maimong truly altered his fate, why have we, generation after generation, done nothing but make Guqin? Because it was just a simple tune, utterly remarkable. Utterly remarkable. The Maimong couldn't help but drink in the phrase himself. What moved him was, in fact, something utterly remarkable. There was no earth-shaking event that followed. The young man who played the Guqin was destined to die young, and so the Maimong merely wished him a good life. And all his desires came true, that was all. But he's still gonna believe it. The music that drew an immortal's favor was nothing more than a casual trifle he himself could produce on a whim. If it was that simple from the beginning, then what was the point of all his fabricated achievements? Getian gives no immediate answer. Instead, he lifts a wing slightly, and the broken Guqin, once treasured, now tossed away, floats into the air. The dust is wiped away, and it is turned over, as if by an unseen hand, revealing the instrument's goose feet on the underside. Neither metal nor jade, they are made of some material that gleams with a soft luster in the candlelight. These are his bones. The Maimong left his remains to his friend, who fashioned them into a Guqin. In the candlelight, the musician's expressions flicks and shifts. After a long moment, he speaks again. I understand now. You mean to say there's no need to strive for absolute perfection, so long as our hearts are sincere? Yeah, I feel that. I mean, live your life, man. I mean, like, I don't know. Being absolutely perfect is... Man, that's like that sounds mentally draining. Getian looks at him quietly, neither confirming nor denying it. But not being perfect also is what makes us human, you know? The truth is clear to me now. The music my ancestor could play, I can play it too. Yes. Or I can play too. If that's the case, then I could stay in the mountains. Life below is noisy, cluttered, and distracting. I know where I went wrong now. I just want to find a quiet place to devote myself to my instrument as I did when I was young. But your destiny is not here. Getian tells him plainly. You came from the lands below, and in the end, this is where you belong. Or that is where you belong. Yes, I should have known. Takes a step back, seemingly in a daze. After a moment, he gathers the courage to speak again. But after I leave the mountain, will fortune ever bring me to you again? Perhaps not. As you can see, the path of the Mei monks was cut off centuries ago. They left one after another, and now... Getian shakes his head. I am the last of my kind, and there is nothing down below that draws my interest, perhaps. Due to your decision, you've grown more... more confused? Oh my gosh, dude. Hold on, let me buy a bot. And get some water. Why am I getting a Crunchyroll ad on my... What? On my Twitch or my OBS. Due to your decision, you've grown more confused. They look at each other, silent for a time. Only now does everything finally become clear that there was never any great musician, no score unheard by the world, and no ideal worth dying for. The young man who suddenly chased such ideals to this place is only a petty fraud, though a harmless one at that. Dawn is about to break. The extinguished... Oh, that's kind of mean, the way they word it. Dawn is about to break. The extinguished candle gives off a faint trail of bluish smoke.
Goodbye.
It is time for you to go. The long river. The cool drop of dew falls onto the musician's forehead, jolting him awake. He returns to his senses and finds that he is already standing on the stone steps leading down the mountain. Behind him, the path leading up is choked with weeds, unrecognizable. The Maimong he spoke with is nowhere to be seen. Could it be that it was all just a dream? He feels the weight of his broken Gucci still resting on his back. Stands there quietly for a while. That sounds pretty. Then turns to face the lush foliage of the mountain path and begins speaking to no one in particular. I will go down and find somewhere peaceful to stay a while. I've heard of a place nearby called Pei City, beyond royal authority, where both Arcanists and humans live. The musician pauses. From now on, I'll continue to study this instrument. But before that, though, if I may have such fortune, I'd like to hear the piece my ancestor once played. Hesitates, holding his breath while he waits. There's only the sound of wind rustling the trees and grass. I understand. The musician murmurs as if having reached a decision, takes the broken Gucci from his back and carefully sets it on the stone steps. This instrument doesn't belong to me. It should be returned to its owner, if you are willing. Unable to finish the sentence, he shakes his head and bows deeply toward the empty air. Then he straightens up and makes his descent down the mountain without looking back. Shabby mountain hut. The Maimang's wings give a slight tremble as the newly repaired Gucci settles onto the table. The fracture has been properly mended with an arcane skill, leaving behind only a faint seam. It truly is a fine instrument. The maker must have been meticulous, polishing it again and again to achieve such perfection.
However...
Only... He lifts his wings once more. The Gucci floats into the air, revealing its underside. He narrows its eyes, noticing that the pair of goose feet is not perfectly aligned. Using bone for the instrument's goose feet is uncommon. Perhaps this is the reason for the maker's slight flaw. Or perhaps his heart was heavy simply because these were his friend's remains. He shakes his head. Regardless, I do not see the bones of the maker. And you, what do you think? Getian asks the bones. They offer no reply. Let's out an almost imperceptible sigh. Left with no answer, he uses his imagination instead. Many, many years ago, on a spring night, a Maimong quietly descended a mountain with no word to his kin, traversed mountains that seemed endless, crossed rivers that zigzagged and intertwined, past human villages from which came the bark of dogs and the crows of roosters. Like the divine birds of legend, he flew 99,000 miles. Wow. Yet he flew higher than the mountains where immortals dwell, and farther than the crimson clouds that topped the peaks. Even the heaviest dew could not dampen his wings. Only when the sky darkened did he stop to rest on an ordinary parasol tree. The moon sank westward. Humans and Arcanists alike slept. The forest, the fields, the mountains, and rivers, the entire world was fast asleep. Getian ponders what exactly tempted him to stay. Perhaps... No, surely not for some mortal joy. Or perhaps... As if answering himself, he immediately denies it again. No, not even for that piece, or the one who played it. He looks down to the world below the mountain. The morning mist has not yet fully dispersed, but the silken trail of the Pelion River can already be seen glinting in the sunlight as it flows into the distance toward unfamiliar towns, villages, lakes, and plains. Separated by the thin veil of mountain mist, life unfolds. Some are born, some die, some laugh, some weep. So fleeting, so hurried. Like morning dew, with more days gone than to come. Perhaps that is precisely what is worth cherishing. The thoughts stir his heart, beautiful and unforgettable. After a long while, the May monk places the long, silent Gutian before him once more. Beyond the mountains, Palin River. The boat rocks upon the water. The musician suddenly springs to his feet and looks toward the mountains. Sir, did you hear that? Someone's playing a Gutian. With a sudden movement, the small boat lurches violently and the boatman stumbles. Hey, sit still. Don't go startling an old man like me. He clicks his tongue in annoyance and rows hard, steadying the boat. You must be hearing things. The Paling rivers are running high today. Can't hear nothing but the water itself. The musician does not reply. His gaze fixed on the mountains. A moment later, he suddenly points ahead and shouts excitedly, "No, sir, someone really is playing a Gutian. Look, to the bank over there. Even the birds have taken flight." The boatman cranes his neck to peer into the distance, then sighs. The sun's out. Of course the birds are looking for food. What's so strange about that? But how loud could one person's playing be, anyhow? You think it'd reach this far? Only you'd hear it. And only you'd hear it? Maybe it's an immortal who's playing. The words slip out of him. The boatman cannot fathom what strange spells come over this young fellow he picked up on a whim. Ain't no more immortals in this world, unless you've seen one with your own eyes. He opens his mouth and sinks back down defeated. He lowers his gaze to the shimmering surface of the Palin River. It's nothing. I must have imagined it. The boatman clicks his tongue again. All this silly chatter, just tell me where you're headed. I want to go to Pay City. Is this the same musician? It is, right? He's even going to the same city. I don't know. Pay City. And where's that? I've been rowing for more than 30 years and never heard of the place. Wow, really? Shabby mountain hut? Story takes a different turn due to your choice. Okay, let's see what we got. And yet, this is no illusion. Okay. The cool breeze brushes past the Maymung's wings and over the faintly vibrating strings. It is another very, very ordinary tune, hesitantly played for the first time. Wow, I liked it. That was really cool. Really quick read, right? I do want to quickly go over here and try. Uh, I want to get the other reward real quick. Nice, we got greed, we got a polarization, and his 5-star Psy Cube. Oh, we got ending 2. Cool. Okay, let me see. How do I get the other endings? Huh? Which ones are... Is it like... I'm gonna like... If I skip... Okay, there's nothing there. Let's choose this one. Okay. Or... the last... Okay, wait, no, not that one. 6... Wait quietly. 9? Come to think, how many years have I spent on the mountain? I do not know. 10? Story takes a different turn to your choice, and yet there's another cool breeze, wings, and over the family environment. There's another very turn. Oh, it says the same thing? Or did I just get the same ending? I chose all the other options. Okay, well, I must have messed up somewhere. Where did I mess up? Okay, let me look it up real quick. How do you get ending 1? Give me one moment. Okay, let me see. Let me do what he's doing. No, you don't have to do 3. 4. Wait, what did it... Brother, what the hell did he just choose? Oh, here it is. Different ending. Okay, this guy helped me. I have to give him a like. Okay, so ending 2. The Maimong lays his wings over the strings and remains silent for a long time. Down below, finally he puts the Gucci away. The Maimong continues awaiting an answer. Perhaps one day he thinks. It'll be another spring, another winter's night, another utterly ordinary day. Somewhere else, he will hear another song and stop for it. There he will find the answer he seeks. One day he will encounter it. One day. Okay. I liked it. Not too shabby. Um... It just sounds like the main message of, like... I don't know, I mean, he's trying to, like... I mean, he's like that, right? Even, like, in every story session he comes out, and then like his character story in this, he's just fascinated with like human, like with like just you know, I don't know, figuring out what's happened to like his folks or his own kin, like and why they got went down, or not what happened to them, but like, well, I guess yeah, what happened, and then them going down the mountain, why they went down the mountain, and like what they did, uh, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, the stuff with the musician was, I don't know. I feel like the main message being told is, it feels like live your life, right? I don't know, like for Getian's uh, it feels like for Getian, I mean, obviously, dude, he's like our lives are like quickly flash before our eyes, and like for us, it's like, or for him, he's like, we're gone in like the blink of an eye. Like he lives like a millennia, right? Millennium. Like he has like, man, he could live so long, like over 1,000 years, and yeah, next thing you know, the world at the bottom, the human world is just all different and whatnot. So, but yeah, he was just obviously curious about everything. So, the world down below. Uh, what else? The musician, huh? Trying to think of what to talk about with the musician. I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, I get what's happening, but like, how do I like talk about the musician and like just? I mean, they're just kind of like just speaking about, just like, I don't know. Like I understood it, but like trying to like talk about it is like, I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know how to like describe it. I mean, the musician. So he did like man, he, it was kind of cool seeing that he was mentioning that or was mentioned that, I guess he was just playing like ordinary music, right? I don't know. It was good though. I mean, I probably would give it like an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Again, like presentation wise, this is, I prefer the original, like the way they used to do the anecdotes. But the little mini games this time around too were kind of very easy, right? Very quick. Just it got straight to the point. I am still curious. I want to like see. I want to see more with Getian though, like from his perspective. I think that's probably like my. I mean, not saying like we didn't see it here, but I want to see more. But I also want to see like how he is, like, because like, does he ever go to the foundation or like go out again? Like actually go out further? I need to like read his bio and stuff. I can't recall if he's ever, you know. from what I remember, he's like just always been on the mountain, and like he's, I don't know, gone down, right? And on the main story, he went with, remember, with Jun Yang and whatnot. He went down the mountain into the city, but then after that, he was just kind of in the mountain again. Um, yeah, I mean, but again, like disregarding that, going back to this, uh, yeah, again, like I feel like the main message is just kind of like, that's how I see it. Like, life is so short for us humans, right? It's like you could like master. You could choose, like, choose how you live your life, and like whatever you choose, like make sure you're enjoying it, right? Because it's like, I mean, there's no point of like choosing something that you're not having fun doing or enjoying, and then plus it's like, um, I don't know, man. You gotta like live in the moment too a little bit. I mean, just enjoy it, because like, I mean, again, time is so fleeting for us, and then again for Getian, dude, like, the guy lived like a millennium. Like he could live like 1,000+ years. So we're like gone by the time he like ever thinks about us again. Wants to go down and check out the mountains again. That's what I was asking about the river, and like if that, or like the man or the musician on the river again, like if it was the same dude, because I was like, It sounded like he just did not know. I don't know. It made it seem like he was a different person. Like he didn't experience like all those moments with Gitian. But it sounds like it. Again, I don't know if that's him or not. Maybe it is. Like I don't know. Because it seems like super duper surprised about hearing the music. Yeah, I think that's all I kind of have to say about it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, those are like my points, or like the more interesting points I have to say. Um, I. um. Yeah, I don't know. And then just seeing Gitian like trying to like understand everything in the human world, what happened to his, his people, his kin, the Maymongs, and like how they lived their lives. Um, yeah, it's kind of it's interesting. And then like that's why he went down, right? Because obviously like like their bones can't really, they don't really tell, like they're not telling a story. So hmm hmm but yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Again, like, if you guys ever like want to ever check out the live stream or whatnot live while I'm doing this, and you guys ever have any questions at the end, I mean, I'll be able to put these in the video and whatnot and whatnot. Like, these are like questions I have to like think about, right? And just mention, or like just points of interest. And when I always like come up with little questions for for myself. So but yeah, I mean, again, like I'm always streaming. I'm always streaming, and you guys can catch me on any of my games or any of my gachas and whatnot. I stream so much. Very late, in fact, lately. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions. And again, if you're ever interested in watching me stream, it's down in the comments. My twitch.tv/SundianTV. Any of my info's down there, my socials. I mean, I literally only use Twitter. So yeah, again, for those that are interested, everything's down there in the description. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this anecdote and whatnot. What did you guys think of it and whatnot? Again, yeah, I'd probably give it like a 8 out of 10. And again, for me, an 8 out of 10 is still very, very good. I think for me and my ratings, would say like a 7 and up is like really good for me. Anything with like 7 and above is like really good, and I'd probably give this like an 8. I enjoyed reading it. But again, I really do wish someday, and I'm gonna keep iterating it every single time there's an anecdote. Just go back to the previous anecdotes, man. The previous presentation style. It's I was like so more like immersed within it. But it's all good though. Obviously I still like can imagine and see everything like a film reel in my head as I'm like reading through these. Right? It's literally just another visual novel, or it's like a electronic light novel. But yeah, again, let me know your thoughts and opinions and whatnot. What did you guys think of it? And yeah, I will catch you guys on another one pretty soon. That is.